Name?
My name is Romina, and it's very simple question too, but it's about the youth that you work with. You said that they get credit to go to college credit, right? How long does it take you to work with them? I mean, my question is, do you work in a semester, kind of framework, or like a year long, or how is it?
I generally work with them from, well, it really depends, but we try to target 11th graders so that we get at least 2 years with them. This year I have some 10th graders in there, so it's a mixed class. And my colleague, who also does this, I have a couple colleagues, he loops with his kids. So he starts off with them in 9th grade and stays with them all the way through, which is a great model. I just think it's cheating. Because it's really hard for me. I basically start with a new crew every year, but we have the 11th graders who then do the peer-to-peer mentoring of the younger cohort. So I'd be happy to go into more details for any folks who are interested in the model. Other questions, comments? Okay. Yes, ma'am, and then yes, sir.
I'm
Nate?
Lydia.
Yes,
And what has been the response from the local business owners from doing this ground mapping?
Ground truthing.
Ground truthing. I'm sorry. Going into their stores and observing what they're selling and how.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is their response?
Such a great question. Very suspicious. Right? Not always welcoming. Not the most welcoming. But it's such a great inversion of power. Right? Anytime you are able to have young people now with taking notes and clips and all these things, so that's been great. But you want to let the owners know prior to coming, and try to make it as much as they're not under scrutiny, as much as you're just doing just checking it out. Because this is what they do. You're just hanging out, checking it out. Yes, sir.
My name is Javier. I think ground truthing is a very great, very well thought out idea. Also, I saw in the picture while one of the Latino students was presenting, he wasn't in a tie or suit or any kind of extravagant garb or anything like that. He was just normal. Is that how they present all the time, or do you ask that they, wear proper attire because it is a conference and important people are going to be there?
I already told you, Javier. Yeah, great question. I mean, I already told you my stance.
Right.
I mean, your other people's ideas of what is professional is not my idea. Right. Dr. King talked a lot about the content of our character, right? And really judging people, not by what they look like, but on the content of their character, right? And so that's what I try to tell my students. Now, having said that, I have to own the privilege that I have, having all these credentials, having acquired some pretty good skills in terms of communicating in a language that resonates with businesses, universities, et cetera, right? So we have to be careful not to set our young people up for failure, right? But at the same time, my youth, I want my youth to feel great about who they are and where they come from, right? And so when they step on to present to you, you're gonna feel that in the clothes they're wearing, right? In their community, this is how they roll, and they feel great about who they are, right? And so that's what we all emit, that energy, right? But I tell them everything I've just said, like, you have to be so strong. Look, the truth is, people of color, and this is what people forget, people of color don't get second chances. That's something else that's racialized. Yeah. Who gets second chances in society? Who gets third chances? Yeah? A lot of times a person of color messes up. That's it. You're done all the way back to the bottom. You're going to have to grind to get back. Right? Whereas another person messes up, it's overlooked that. Yeah. So I like to explain the whole thing to them. Right? And then say, love who you are, be who you are. And those are the people who you want to hire you. Those are the people who you're going to want to work with. Have confidence that you're going to acquire so much skill, right, and master what you do. They're going to need you, right? Start thinking about things on your terms, right? Flip it, right? So that's what I offer and what I try to model to them. Yes, sir.
Dr.
What's your name?
Tom Chagoya.
Hi.
I want to thank you for an excellent presentation, and what you shared with us is that it's all interrelated, everything, and there's a lot at stake, and it starts with us, and we need that commitment because we can make a difference.
That's right.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Kat. Thank you again for the presentation.
Thank you.
I was wondering, how are you promoting STEAM over STEM? More specifically in like getting the ball politically moving, like that does involve legislature at a certain point to emphasize and to keep the arts in the programs. How do you see that developing in California? How do you see that developing nationally when a lot of the dialogue is that's superfluous, we don't need music, we don't need art, we don't need theater? Like, how would you like to see that evolve?
I am a big fan of doing. Before I get to the policy piece, which I understand the game of it and how important it is, I like to go and build things, right? So what we're doing is we're building a school, right? We haven't built it, but this is our plan, right? And we are gathering, so it would be a whole, but you're not building a school, we're taking over. We just met with the superintendent of Oakland about this. We're closing all these schools in Oakland, right? So we've done two things. One, I said, let my institute, iSeed, be the environmental steward for the closed schools. Give us the land, right? And then once we get the land, we want to do these green innovation incubators on the land. So that would be growing the organic food and the fresh produce for the community, right? That would be developing social enterprise within those schools that young people are actually developing, right? Part of what I do, I'm in conversation with I've been at the Lawrence Berkeley Lab this year. And so now I'm having young people make advanced biofuels out of plants, non-food-based plants, through a process called lignin cellulose, right? And so I want the land for the young people to do that, right? And finally, once we get the land and build these blocks, I have all these artists to do murals, do all of the environmental design piece that makes the community beautiful, right? And as I do that, then I want to go to the policymakers, right? And it's sort of a simultaneous process and say, see, right? This is the relationship between science, technology, engineering, and math, and arts. And we could have never done this without this, and we can do this without that. And here's your evidence. Because I feel like a lot of times we need evidence-based arguments to really transform the hearts and minds of policymakers.
Well, thank you for that beautiful answer. Thanks.
I think we can take one more question, and then I want to invite people to do our small group.
Let's take two more.
All right, sounds good.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, thank you for this. I'm really happy to be here. But I was wondering, just curious, because you had kind of hinted on your mixed feelings maybe about the Occupy movement. Is that because you don't think they're doing enough? Or?
No, I'm inspired by Occupy. Occupy Oakland, my hesitancy was that it's still racialized, right? That there's not enough. Oakland is a really multicultural community, but if you go down to the tents, it's mostly white folks, right? And so that means that I want to see a well-represented Occupy movement of Oakland for that community, right? That would make me even more happy, right? But overall, the Occupy movement has been very inspirational, period. And it's going to if it keeps going, hopefully have more diverse leadership. I mean, part of the brilliance of the Occupy movement is that you can't point to a specific leader, right? But part of the issue with a lot of the more recent social movements and part of leadership in general is it's almost always all white, right? That we don't take diversity in leadership really critically, right? We don't take it seriously enough, and we're not being intentional enough about, or it's all male, right? I mean, we don't just have to stick on race, right? So we all have to do a better job, right? Of when we have the power, I need to step aside and give it to Marisol, right? There's times where that's just the right thing to do. And that's cooperative leadership, and build it with her, but let her lead it, right? And so that would make it a really powerful movement to have that sort of reflexivity. Final question.
I'm Miriam Torres. I'm working in the College of Education, Curriculum and Instruction. And I really see if this is a kind of comment, the perfect connection between scholarship, very integrated scholarship, with activism. We were just struggling in this way, trying to turn in our digital measures. The do you do in the California State University system?
No.
The digital measures?
I don't know, no.
Oh, okay. I'm gone.
I'm thankful that I don't have to.
Yeah, because you have a union.
Yeah. Oh, our
Yeah,
union
you have
is
a
very
union.
good.
And one thing is that they separate so many things based in so little reason, rationale for doing that. For example, and one thing is academic work, and another is professional work, outreach work. So how can you separate that if you do intentionally and with all the components to be integrated service or integrated commitment to the community? And however, it's just so disintegrated, and I really commend you for showing such an eloquent and well-grounded way to integrate scholarship and activism as a dynamic way.
Thank you. I guess that's as good a place to end. Thank you.
One should not look for anything else in the way of the samurai. It's the same for anything else that's called away. If one understands things in this manner, he should be able to hear about all ways and be more and more in accord with them.
They call me the funky homo sapien, cause I walk around with zero patience in the whole earth's surface population, cause a lot of these cats won't stop the hate. One of my homies had dreams of doing what he do, but his folks said he couldn't do it. Took it as a joke, told him that it's stupid. It got to my man, now he through with it.